This video is for those of you who are thinking about going to college, maybe right out of high school, or even if you're an adult. And I have with me today Maddie Billman. I'll let her introduce herself to you. But this is really for those of you who want to make good financial decisions and maybe even a good decision on where to go to school. So Maddie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey everyone, I'm Maddie Billman. I am a freshman at Oklahoma State University and I'm majoring in biochemistry and molecular biology with a specific focus in pre-veterinary sciences.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I have just a few questions for you. Now, what are the important steps to make good decisions around choosing a good university or college?
So the first thing that I was thinking about when I was wanting to decide where I wanted to go to college was where could I apply that would have what I wanted to study. So for me, I'm pre-vet, so I wanted somewhere that would be more focused on your animal sciences versus more of a liberal arts school. I wanted to focus solely on one that was very focused on what I wanted to study. And then also, so once I figured that out, I looked if there were any specific programs that were relating to my major that would be beneficial to me. And then also I started looking in-state and out-of-state for how much each would cost, how much tuition would cost, and how to work with being close to home, far away from home. And then once I figured out where I wanted to apply, I went and toured some of the schools that I applied to and kind of felt out where I felt the most at home and where I could see myself, as well as what made the most sense for me to attend.
That's great. It almost sounds like you had a spreadsheet or something. I mean, how did you track all that?
So I did actually use a spreadsheet. I am totally a planner. I've had my future figured out for as long as I can remember. Well, attempted to figure it out. So what I did, especially once I was going into making my decision for where I wanted to attend college, I had a spreadsheet and I had the schools that I had been accepted to, how much their tuition was, how much in scholarships were they going to be giving me, how much it would cost to live. I am in a sorority, so how much that would cost on average for each school and things like that. And then I went in and said, okay, so I'm going to be at this school for 4 years, and then I can go somewhere else for vet school. And I really went in and worked those numbers to figure out how much everything would cost and how much everything would be most beneficial to pay, because there are some schools that can be very pricey that might not have as great of a return on my future.
Perfect. Now, how do you decide to go to a school that might pay for your entire tuition versus going ahead and getting a loan for it?
So for me, I did actually end up getting a loan to where I'm going to college. But for example, in Florida, which is where I'm from, we have this amazing program called Bright Futures that if you have a certain grades, your entire tuition is paid for. And it was really hard to make that decision. However, at Oklahoma State, where I attend, they have this program where I can count my last year of my undergrad as my first year of vet school, which then cuts down on the amount of time that I will be in school.
Right.
And does make a huge difference because vet school wouldn't have been paid off with that Bright Future scholarship. So I really had to put in all the factors and all the programs that went into these schools in order to make that choice for myself personally. And I think it really depends on what your individual major is, on whether it makes sense to go out of state or a private school or somewhere that might be more expensive than a smaller school or somewhere in state.
Very smart. So should you borrow money to go to a university? How do you decide if it's a good return on investment?
So there are a lot of cool websites out there, especially one called salary.com. So you can kind of go in, put in what your field is, so wherever you want to end up, and then place where you think you might want to be living, and you can see how much you can make. Potentially at this time, I know for me, I've got a few more years to go before I am making money, but seeing how much you can make and seeing how long it would take you to pay off those loans really are important to figuring out whether you should take them off or not. And then also seeing what your future, like how many options you have in what you're going to be doing, and if this is a reliable career. If you aren't so sure on what you want to major in, it doesn't make as much sense to me personally to go ahead and spend all that money when you're not sure where you'll end up. But for me, I knew exactly where I wanted to be, and I calculated how much it was going to cost and seeing how long it would take me to pay off those student loans.
That's perfect. That's really good advice. Are there any other aspects of the decision that you'd like to share?
So for me, I also am in the honors college, which was something that really attracted me to the school because there are a lot of cool aspects of it, and it's really focusing more on learning as a whole and just being a constant learner in my future and not just going to college and then focusing on one thing for the rest of my life, but being a learner for the rest of my life. And then also just really looking at the campus, looking at the housing, looking how the people are responding, because those are important to your success as a college student. If you're in an environment that you can't thrive in, or you feel uncomfortable, or you don't feel appreciated and loved, you're most likely not going to do as well as if you were to feel all of those things. So I think that it's really important to not just look at the economic and not just look at the schooling, but really focus on the social, which is why I ended up where I ended up. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you for helping me make this video. And if you have enjoyed this video and want to send this on to someone else, please copy the URL and send it on to your friends. Thank you, Maddie.
thank you so much for having me.